Hi, welcome back to PS Art Gallery. In this painting, I'm going to show you how to paint a pineapple with watercolor. Here, I'm starting with a simple sketch of the pineapple. First, I begin from the lower part of the pineapple by drawing a basic rectangular shape. This helps me to fix the main structure. For the crown, I only use gesture lines in the beginning. I'm not adding details yet, just showing the direction and flow of the leaves. Now I start creating crisscross lines. I draw diagonal shapes from the bottom left corner towards the bottom right, and in the same way I draw lines from the opposite directions from bottom left towards the top right. These crisscross lines helps me create the pineapple scales correctly. Now I am slowly starting drawing the scales inside those crisscross shapes. I also add some small random shapes in the middle of each scale. Actually, I don't know the exact technical name for these middle shapes, but they help give character to the pineapple surface. I also try to keep all the lines soft and light because watercolor needs clean paper for transparency. Now I start drawing the crown, the leaves of the pineapple. First, I draw the smallest leaves near the bottom of the crown. Their tips are bending slightly downward. Then I slowly move upwards and draw bigger leaves. These are longer, sharper, and stronger in shape. Some leaves bend downward and some remain straight and pointed upwards. In this sketch, I feel I have drawn a little extra number of leaves. That's okay. I will adjust and manipulate it later during my painting. Now the sketch is complete. I begin applying clean water on the front side of the paper. After that, I also wet back side of the paper. I like to wet both sides of the paper. It helps the color blend smoothly and keeps the paper flat on the surface. This method gives me more control during wet on wet painting. Now I am using a flat brush. I mix light green with some burnt sienna and apply it softly to the background. You can also see the colors are very light and gentle. On the top of the background, I touch a little bit pale blue, only slightly, just to give a variation. Now I start adding yellow touches on the background, just small touches here and there, not too strong. This gives warmth and keeps the background lively. Now it's time to start painting the pineapple itself. On the light side, where the light hits directly, I apply lemon yellow. Gradually start increasing the intensity of the yellow. Now I apply gamboge yellow, which is a little darker. On the left side, I mix a little orange into the yellow and start creating depth. This gradual color change helps to create the three-dimensional shape of the pineapple. Because the paper is still wet, the colors are blending very smoothly, you can see. I'm just blending the darker colors with the light yellow to make it smoother and create the 3D shape of the pineapple. Now with the slightly dry brush, I wipe out some color carefully to create texture in the scales. This lifting method helps highlight the sharp parts of the pineapple surface. Now I move to the crown. I apply light green and sap green on the top of the leaves. I'm just uh, applying the first layer on the leaves. You can see it's very fat, and I have loaded lots of water into my brush. You can see. Now I'm just touching the leaves one by one. I don't paint the full leaf in one stroke. Instead, I create strokes with the brush so the texture looks natural. I touch each leaf one by one. Now I am applying some strong green. With the same brush, I am applying from the top of the leaf and blending downwards. Now I mix a little bit burnt sienna with green and start from the sharp tips of the leaves. The tips are very sharp and start coloring from there. Again here you can see I work one leaf at a time, and just working on the tips right now and just enhancing the intensity. Now the paper has dried completely, and after drying I start again from the topmost leaf using darker green with more intensity. And you can see on the bottom part of the leaf also I am just giving details. I will do the same with the other leaves also, one by one. This will help the leaves to create the realistic view of the pineapple. I am using a smaller brush now. You can see I start creating sharper edges using the darker color. This brings clarity to the leaf shapes and separates one leaf from another. In the same way, I will apply colors to the all leaves, and after drying I will also apply more color to create a realistic texture on the leaves. You can see the leaves are almost complete now. Now I come back to the pineapple body. With darker color I start creating the scales one by one. You can see to clear parts of each scale, one sharp pointed area which stays white and one darker area behind it. I lifted some color while applying the first layer, which helps to preserve the white spaces for the sharp scales. On the left side I make scales darker because the side is in shadow. On the right side I keep it lighter where the light is hitting. This light direction helps make the pineapple look realistic and three-dimensional. Now on the right side, I mix sap green with lemon yellow to add a warm greenish shade. I'm just giving touch with my smaller brushes, and with the same color I touch some of the leaves to balance the harmony. Again, I return to the lower part of the pineapple with a smaller brush and a little bit darker orange. I add more texture and details. The lower side remains darker since it receives less direct light. Now I mix orange, red and burnt sienna to create deeper tones. These darker tones make the scale more realistic and three-dimensional. With green to create even deeper shades. Now it's time to improve the background. I take blue and create shadow on the right side on the pineapple. You can see I carefully preserve some white sharp edges where the scales are coming forward. This creates strong contrast between the background and the pineapple. And I'm also mixing the, here you can see I'm also mixing this blue color with little bit water with the background, just trying to get a softer background here. I'm just adding a little bit water with the blue. Also mix some soft green strokes into the blue for an artistic look. Here you can see I'm just gradually going downwards, and here I have used a little bit red along with some orange. Now it's time to give the cast shadow of the pineapple. Here I have used a blue mixed with burnt sienna. With the same color I apply a little bit more dark blue with burnt sienna, mixing with burnt sienna, just increasing the intensity of the color. With the same dark color I am touching some of the area where the, you can see on the leaves. I am using the very dark color here on the leaves and on some places where I want to create more dark shades. This painting has multiple layers and each layer adds depth. So you can see I'm using some lighter tones on the right side of the leaf, and on the background also I am using a little bit more dark color, using less water, just creating the depth of the pineapple, and creating a contrast between the pineapple and the background, using more deeper or more more darker value of blues, using a number 0 brush, which is the smaller brush I have used here. And it's the final touch. I'm using a little bit white color here. I don't recommend anyone using white too often, but sometimes it is useful. With a liner brush, I add white only to the sharp edges of the scales. You can see I am using the liner brush here. Now the painting is completed. It's time to add my signature. This painting is finally finished. Please leave your comments and let me know what you feel about this artwork, and thank you for watching.